If this truth crashes into you like a wave, you never saw a building smash, that subscribe button and turn on notifications, write this. Second, because what you are about to hear could be the final key that shatters the invisible prison you've been running inside for years and finally lets you breathe as the man you were always meant to be. Commit to watching every single second until the end. I've deepened every layer with raw eye-opening twists, gut-wrenching life challenges, and Viktor Frankl-inspired revelations that will make you stare at your calendar, your phone, your entire existence and wonder how you ever settled for this hollow version of success and leave you burning to break free before another day slips away. Have you ever really paused to watch those men who look like they've mastered the game? They're constantly in motion, schedules overflowing, goals stacked high, metrics screaming to be crushed. They leap out of bed before sunrise, grind through the night, fire off replies in seconds. Hustle like tomorrow depends on today. From the outside, they seem unstoppable, unbreakable, the definition of winning. But lean in closer, look past the polished surface, and you'll see the cracks. They lie awake at 3 a.m., heart racing for no reason. They can't catch a full breath during the day, in every rare quiet moment driving home, waiting for coffee. Staring at the ceiling, the same relentless question echoes louder than any notification. Why the hell am I even doing all this? They've chased down every single thing society promised would make life complete. The money flowed in. The titles got printed on business cards. The likes, the nods, the "you're killing it" comments piled up. Yet the one thing that actually matters, the deep, unshakable sense of meaning, ever arrived. And in that brutal realization, the truth lands like a hammer. They didn't build a life. They constructed a cage. A glittering high-status, suffocating cage built from endless obligations, artificial deadlines, and non-stop performance for people who will forget them the moment they stop producing. They whisper to themselves in the mirror, "This is just what real success demands." But buried under the hustle, they know the ugly secret hits, not the price tag of achievement. It's the cleverest trap ever designed. No matter how fast they sprint, the finish line magically moves farther away. Goals inflate overnight. Targets reset higher. Applause lasts seconds before the next demand arrives. The man who once ran toward a burning vision now runs simply to silence the growing void inside him. Viktor Frankl didn't read about this nightmare in textbooks. He lived it in the absolute worst place on earth. Nazi concentration camps. There, he witnessed human beings stripped to nothing, clothes torn away, names erased, families murdered, dignity crushed under boots. Yet amid that unimaginable horror, some men still stood tall. Not because they were the biggest, strongest, or toughest physically. They survived because they clung to a wire personal purpose, a meaning so powerful that even the darkest evil couldn't rip it from their souls. Frankl uncovered a terrifying modern truth that echoes louder today than ever. When a man loses his sense of meaning, he doesn't collapse in dramatic fashion right away. He distracts, he numbs, he drowns the emptiness in pleasure, endless productivity, more tasks, more noise, anything to keep the terrifying quiet at bay. Not because he's invincible, but because he's scared to death of what he'll face if he ever truly stops. In that forbidden stillness, the void screams back. Look at everything you've built: houses, cars, bank accounts, reputations, and realize you've built nothing that belongs to your soul. You've built everything except yourself. You scroll mindlessly for hours. You reply instantly to every ping, like your life depends on it. You'd perform without pause, but you never dare ask the dangerous questions. What game am I actually playing here? Who set these rules? And why am I still running when the prize feels so empty? You keep telling yourself you're overwhelmed by too much work, too many responsibilities. But that's the lie you cling to. You're not crushed by the workload, you're crushed by the complete absence of meaning behind it. It's not your packed schedule that's slowly killing your spirit. It's the echoing silence inside every so-called victory, every paycheck, every promotion. You don't need more hours in your day or better time management hacks. You need a genuine, burning reason to get up that isn't just about surviving another month, checking another box, climbing someone else's ladder, or living out a dream borrowed from billboards and social media. Frankl didn't write "man's search for meaning" to give you warm fuzzy inspiration. He wrote it as a wake-up slap, to force you to see that life isn't an endless competition or a productivity marathon. Life is one massive, unavoidable question staring you down, and the man who refuses to answer it becomes the willing servant of whoever answers for him, the boss. The algorithm, the culture, the debt. You feel trapped in your job, your routine, your responsibilities. That's only half the story. You're not really trapped in the job itself. You're trapped in the invisible pattern, The endless loop. The rat race with no true finish line. A game that celebrates your exhaustion, while quietly devouring your essence piece by piece. Every single day, you show up for their expectations, you walk away from your own. That's the sickest twist of all. You're constantly praised for being a high performer, but you're quietly dying from disconnection. You've become incredibly useful to the system, visible, reliable, productive, but you feel utterly invisible to yourself. Frankl would cut straight through the noise with this warning. When real meaning vanishes, a man doesn't rise up in rebellion. He doubles down on obedience. He obeys the corporate script louder. He obeys the hustle culture harder. He obeys the myth that constant motion equals purpose, and speed equals progress. But running faster and faster in the completely wrong direction isn't ambition, it's quiet, disguised despair. You're not burned out because you're doing too much. You're burned out because almost none of what you're doing actually matters to your soul. If any single line in this video feels like it's been ripped from your own private thoughts, if you've ever stared at your color-coded calendar filled with meetings and felt a complete emotional void, then hear this clearly. You're not broken. You're not failing. You're waking up. The very first crack in the cage appears the moment you stop desperately asking, how do I push through this? And start asking the life-altering question, why the hell am I pushing at all? You're not tired in the usual sense. You're unanchored from anything real. You're not lazy. You're simply unconvinced by the script you've been sold. You're not lost. You're just finally done sprinting toward a destination that was never yours in the first place. And if that raw truth stings deep, let it sting hard, because real pain attached to genuine meaning is the birthplace of true growth. But endless comfort without any deeper purpose, that's the deadliest, most seductive trap of all. You weren't always this way. There was a version of you that questioned everything, that felt the fire of curiosity and possibility. Before the world drilled into you that keep moving was the only acceptable answer. Before applause and validation taught you to chase external noise over internal truth. Before you started measuring your entire worth by how much you produce, how many people depend on you, how visible you stay. You weren't born to run laps in someone else's stadium. You were born to stand still long enough to decide whether the stadium, the race, the whole damn game was even worth entering. But slowly, insidiously, the system crept inside your mind. It never asked you to think deeply. It only demanded you perform perfectly. Work harder, stay later, never question the why, and it rewarded your compliance with scraps of approval. Good job, you're so reliable, keep this up. It renamed your obedience as discipline. It renamed your quiet burnout as ambition. Every time you hit the wall, it dangled a new carrot, another title, another raise, another you're almost there, and you ran faster, smiled wider on the outside, screamed louder on the inside. But Viktor Frankl saw the entire illusion for what it was. Not from some comfortable office, but from the literal edge of death in Auschwitz. He watched men lose everything, families slaughtered, homes burned, identities erased. He noticed something the guards could never understand. Some prisoners still carried an unbreakable light inside. Why? Because their meaning wasn't tied to external things that could be taken away. Their why lived deeper than any suffering could reach. Frankl didn't survive because he was physically tougher than the rest. He survived because he refused flat out. Refused to let the most evil system ever built redefine his inner world. His body was imprisoned in barbed wire, but his spirit remained sovereign. He left us the immortal line. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. Most men walking around today aren't in physical concentration camps, but their minds are shackled tighter than ever to crushing debt, to social media validation, to endless expectations, to the paralyzing fear of what happens if they ever dare to stop. They're not beaten with whips or starved. They're broken by the slow, silent realization that something vital is missing, yet they keep distracting themselves from facing it. They mistake frantic motion for real living. They confuse checking endless boxes with actually building a life that matters. Frankl's entire message stands as a stark warning to our generation. If you do want to deliberately claim and define your own why, the world will gladly hand you one, and it will always be the version that keeps you productive, predictable, profitable, and perpetually running. The rat race doesn't need to crush you with overt punishment. It only needs to keep you distracted enough, busy enough, addicted enough, to never notice you're slowly disappearing, chasing deadlines that belong to someone else, competing against people you don't even respect, collecting shiny rewards that never touch the emptiness inside. They don't need physical bars on your cage. They just convince you that pausing is failure, that rest equals weakness, that questioning the entire path makes you ungrateful or unmotivated. But Frankl would turn that lie upside down. The instant you stop running and ask why. That's not weakness. That's power. That's the beginning of true rebellion. That's where awakening ignites. Here's the massive twist that blindsides most men. You keep saying yes to every demand, believing it proves your value, makes you indispensable, earns you respect. You think being always available, always helpful, always on, means you're admired. But there's a world of difference. A man who's constantly reachable isn't respected, he's exploited. They don't reach out because they truly value you as a person. They reach out because they've been conditioned to know you'll drop everything. That's not admiration. That's calculated convenience. You've been trained since childhood to say yes, to always step up, to never push back even when it costs your health, your relationships, your sanity. You thought endless availability made you strong and dependable. Frankl would call it the fastest road to becoming invisible and replaceable. The more you give without any limits, the more they normalize taking. They praise your hustle until they take it as a given. They admire your sacrifice until they demand it as standard. And you keep pouring yourself out because, deep down, you've tied your entire sense of worth to how much you can carry for everyone else. You label it hard work and loyalty. They quietly label it easy access and utility. Frankl didn't endure the camps to become useful or popular. He endured because his existence belonged to him first, not to any system, not to any expectation. He understood that real dignity isn't something others grant you. It's something you fiercely guard with clear, unbreakable boundaries. Draw that line today. If people only stay close when you're saying yes and giving endlessly, then they don't love or respect you. They love the convenience you provide. The second you say no, the dynamic shifts. The warmth cools. The praise morphs into subtle guilt trips. They accuse you of changing or not being yourself anymore. What they really mean is, you stopped being so easy to use. And in that exact moment lies your greatest awakening. The moment you finally stop earning approval by slowly erasing your own needs. You were sold the ultimate lie from the start. Work hard enough and you'll be free. Sacrifice long enough and happiness will follow. Grind relentlessly and fulfillment will arrive on the other side. But look honestly at your life right now. You're not free. You feel owned. You're not happy. You feel hollow. You're not fulfilled. You're exhausted to your core. Because the system doesn't celebrate genuine awakening. It rewards blind obedience. It promises liberation, but delivers endless distraction. It promises meaning, but hands you cheap dopamine hits. And whenever you pause long enough to question the whole setup, it whispers the same seductive line, "Don't stop now. You're so close. Just one more promotion, one more deal, one more milestone." Viktor Frankl saw through this scam from the depths of human suffering itself. He watched prisoners find quiet smiles amid total loss, and he watched successful men crumble in luxury. He realized the true opposite of suffering isn't pleasure, it's purpose. Happiness cannot be chased directly. It follows when meaning leads the way. But the system panics when you stop chasing empty prizes. If you quit running after hollow success, you stop being a perfect consumer. If you stop craving external validation, you stop needing their approval. If you stop playing their game, you start asking the questions that could actually set you free. The rat race doesn't end the day you retire with a gold watch. It ends the moment you remember who you were before the world convinced you your value equals your output. Before the pressure, before the applause, before you traded your soul for a steady stream of notifications. You weren't born to chase endlessly. You were born to choose deliberately. And the man who chooses his own meaning doesn't burn out from exhaustion. He burns bright with real, unshakable purpose. The cage was never locked from the outside. The lock has always been on the inside. The key has been in your hand the whole time. The only question left is, will you finally turn it today?